Welcome to this Throwback Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. It's Thirsty Thursday all the time when you tune into Liquid Lunch, but it's also a Throwback Thursday. And before getting into all the crazy things going on, I want to take a look back at what brought us to here. Before getting into any of that, let's take a look right down the street at the New York Stock Exchange. It's a throwback day there because the bears are on the attack. The market has thrown back nearly 300 points today, down quite big, in the red this morning. It seems that the global fears continue, that we're not getting the right reporting out of China on the coronavirus. There are whispers going through the institutional community that as the coronavirus fear continues, China itself may be facing about $1.1 trillion in bad loans and loan defaults on businesses that are operating in China who are currently not operating, not manufacturing, and not shipping. And the coronavirus and its collateral effects continue to rock the market, down about 300. And Bitcoin also not so hot today, 10,000 yesterday, 9,700 as we speak, down about 3% overnight. I think there may be a flight to safety in the Bitcoin, but this corona stuff continues to create a lot of uncertainty in the markets. We'll keep you posted on all that. We are waiting as we speak live as Judge Amy Berman Jackson recounts all of the seven chargings against Roger Stone, and she's been on the bench now after a short break where she's about to deliver her sentencing. But it seems she's taken time throughout this. Let's take a look back at what's happened here. As you know, many of the folks that were involved in the Mueller probe we've had on the show, Jerome Corsi, George Papadopoulos, Roger Stone himself, all of those people told me personally, face-to-face, that they had no collusion with Russia, there was no contact with WikiLeaks, et cetera, et cetera. Jerome Corsi's off the hook. Apparently, he wound up cooperating somehow against Roger Stone. Randy Credico turned out to be the main witness that caused a lot of these issues, or at least the issues that are amplifying the judge to want to go closer to the sentencing guidelines. They're saying that Roger threatened Randy Credico, who was a things to each other over the years that you couldn't believe, probably far worse than anything you've seen here. But since the charges, since the verdict, Randy Credico himself has come out and made a plea publicly that Roger Stone shouldn't do any jail time. So we're keeping you up to the second. I'm getting reporting in my ear. Frankie's covering it minute by minute. As soon as there's some information there on the Roger Stone case, we will bring it to you. But at the same time, there's some new prosecutors in there. As you know, last week, Trump tweeted about the sentence and how the sentencing guidelines were crazy at 7 to 9 years. Bill Barr came out and said that the conversations he had with the actual prosecutors, he didn't think that they were going to make a guideline suggestion of 7 to 9 years. When they did put it in, he wasn't happy with it. He called them back. They looked into it. And the Department of Justice themselves decided to leave it to the discretion of the judge. That caused all kinds of mayhem. The four prosecutors who were originally on the case all resigned. They were replaced by two people from the Washington office that were recently installed there. And it seems even this morning that the judge made some comments that she said that the first recommendation is actually still in her record. It has not been withdrawn, and she's taking that into consideration. She did press two of the U.S. prosecutors on the case to ask them if they agreed with the first one. They asked them what made them change to the second one, and they were, generally avoiding answering those questions. So the judge is not just coming in with her mind made up. It doesn't seem. She's had a lot of questions to ask. She recently, just moments ago, said in court that she has a lot to say. So I guess she'll be talking her way through those 7 chargings. And then, Donald Trump is just opening fire on all the other folks that he and myself and many other Americans are wondering why some of these other people haven't been even charged. Yet Roger Stone is facing sentencing. Trump is tweeting about how, what about James Comey? He lied and he leaked. What about Andrew McCabe? He admitted that he lied. Through and through and through, Donald Trump is putting a lot of pressure on the whole situation here. And quite frankly, you know, Frankie, we have any updates on anything there?
Well, right now, as you say, John, Judge Jackson is going through all 7 counts of that Roger was convicted on, and she's just addressed the issue that you just referenced of Randy Credico writing a letter to the court asking for no prison time, and she seems pretty prepared to just disregard it. She said, essentially, that Stone was guilty of tampering with witness Randy Credico, and that the victim's letter, I mean, and if you know Randy, to call him a victim is quite a stretch, that the victim's letter asking her not to send him to prison says more about Credico than it does about Stone. Quote, it may be that even today he does not want to be the reason for a tough sentence. She's going to hammer him here.
I think it sounds like she's hammering him already, but Frank, you're my co-host, my partner in crime, managing editor, but on this particular story, you're probably one of the best subject matter experts there could be on Roger Stone and the whole litany of things that have happened here. You, as I am, have been a longtime confidant of Roger's, so we know him for quite some time.
Right.
You, in particular, introduced me to him.
Yeah.
You were one of the producers of the documentary Netflix hit Get Me Roger Stone, about Roger Stone's life and history. And you work with Michael Caputo on some of the pardon stuff. Why don't you give a little of your insights? Because you even wrote to the judge in this case.
That's right. I have sent a letter to the judge at the request of Roger's attorneys. I did redact my letter a bit from how it was initially written. But your recapitulation of the case is accurate. The only thing that I would add is that in addition to everything else you cited, is that we learned that the jury foreperson was far from an uninterested third party. The jury foreperson in this case was a Democratic elected official from Memphis who had tweeted about Roger Stone, essentially mocking him for that pre-dawn raid that took place at his home. So she violated her oath as a juror when she checked the box on her jury questionnaire that said, have you made any decision about Roger Stone's guilt or innocence? She checked the box no, when clearly she had.
Decided.
But it gets so much worse because during the trial itself, she continued to send out tweets that were defamatory towards Roger Stone, or at least portrayed Roger in a negative light during the trial.
That's amazing. When they're charged not to be reading the papers or doing any of this stuff, they're supposed to stay objective.
I've seen convictions thrown out for a lot less, and that's exactly what Roger's attorneys asked for here. They asked for, in light of the new evidence about the jury foreperson, can we have a new trial? The judge said, no, we're going through with sentencing Thursday as scheduled. So,
right, but she did, Frankie, I read The Guardian is doing some live tweeting, I guess, of someone in the courtroom, but she did say, although she's going to give her sentence today, she's going to wait on executing it to hear if Roger gets a new trial, I guess, where he's appealing to. So apparently, it doesn't look like he's going to have to turn himself in today.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected. We're still waiting. We in New York are still waiting for Shelley Silver to go to prison. Now, she just referenced my letter. Judge Jackson says she has learned from Stone's friends and family letters that he has rescued countless dogs, which I made a point of mentioning, that he supported his in-law suffering from Alzheimer's and fought for same-sex marriage. That was also my letter. NFL players with brain injuries and criminal justice reform. So she's getting to the mitigating circumstances here that might cause her to go a little lighter, but we'll see. We should have a decision literally any minute in terms of this verdict.
All right, well, let's take a quick break just in case we get anything. Let's make sure we're back on air. We're going to mix it up. We got a whopper of a show today. Josh Kravitz and Michael Tracy join us to mix it up. Democrat, Republican, thoughtful conversation for all. Michael Fisher's going to be here. Antoine Tucker, congressional candidate. John Lott kicks off hour 2. Joe Lucci's going to be here from Charter Links, talking to us about what's happening with the coronavirus and the economy and how it affects transportation and group travel. And Dr. Janet Nishawat, one of the foremost experts on this whole coronavirus fear stuff, is going to be here. And Bob Hitching will wrap it up and close out this Throwback Thursday. We're going to take a quick break. More Liquid Lunch for you right after this.